The tension in the air was palpable. Earth had always been a peaceful planet, one that had learned from its violent history, striving to avoid war at all costs. But now, everything was about to change. Earth's sensors, designed to detect any foreign objects in its vicinity, had just picked up an incoming object. It wasn't just any object, it was a fleet. A massive fleet, unlike anything humanity had ever seen before. The ships were cloaked in advanced technology, blending seamlessly with the stars. Their presence felt like an ominous shadow slowly enveloping Earth. As the fleet grew closer, the planetary defense systems were immediately activated. Humanity's military was on high alert, ready for battle, but there was an eerie calmness in the response. The human leaders, generals, and soldiers all knew that this could be the moment they had dreaded. The moment the peaceful existence of Earth was threatened by an alien force too powerful to resist. But they also knew one thing for sure. This would not be a typical war. It couldn't be. Humanity had never fought with the desire for destruction. It had always been the last resort. Suddenly, a transmission was received from the alien fleet. The message was loud and clear, its tone mocking, as if the aliens saw humans as nothing more than a species unworthy of their time. The voice of the alien eye echoed through the Earth's comm systems. Humanity, it sneered, you are nothing more than a primitive species, living in the shadows of your past. Why do you avoid war? Are you afraid to face your destiny? Do you think you can challenge us? Your weak resistance will be crushed under the weight of the galaxy's might. The alien fleet was now clearly visible. Gigantic warships, glowing with power, surrounded the Earth. The ships looked menacing, each equipped with weapons capable of reducing entire cities to rubble. The AI's mocking voice filled every corner of Earth's communication channels. We've been watching your planet for centuries, waiting for the moment to strike. It's now time to see whether you're worth conquering, or if you will simply cower in the face of true power. Humanity, despite its advanced technology, had never encountered an enemy like this before. The sheer size of the fleet, combined with the cold confidence of the aliens, was enough to shake the strongest of men. The Earth's leaders gathered in a high-security bunker, their faces grim as they looked at the glowing screen showing the alien ships. The military was ready to launch an attack, their fingers hovering over the buttons that could ignite a war. Yet there was something unsettling about the thought of fighting. The idea of going to war with such a powerful force, knowing that they were the underdogs, terrified them all. But what choice did they have? As the countdown for military engagement began, a voice broke the silence. It was Captain Alex Bonner, a young and charismatic leader who had risen through the ranks not by brute force, but by understanding the deeper meaning of peace and diplomacy. With calm resolve, Captain Bonner stepped forward and issued an order that would stop the military in its tracks. Hold your fire. We won't engage in war unless absolutely necessary. His voice was strong, yet there was a softness to it, an understanding that this wasn't just a military decision. This was a moral one. Bonner wasn't just a soldier. He was a symbol of humanity's hope for survival without violence. The other leaders, still in shock at the alien transmission, looked at him in disbelief. Was he suggesting they just sit back and wait? Let the aliens take whatever they wanted. The room fell into silence as Captain Bonner's words echoed through the bunker. The tension was thick, and there was a sense of disbelief in the air. Could humanity truly avoid war? Could they show restraint when faced with such a dire threat? Bonner wasn't merely making a political statement. He was offering a challenge to humanity itself. A challenge that would define whether Earth would remain a peaceful world or fall into the same cycle of violence it had spent centuries trying to escape. Without waiting for the room to respond, Bonner made his next move. He called for an emergency meeting of Earth's leaders. The goal was clear: to discuss the best way to avoid war while ensuring the survival of their planet. This wasn't just about strategy, it was about philosophy. Did humanity want to survive by clinging to its violent past, or would it rise to the occasion and proved that there was more strength in peace than in destruction. As the leaders gathered around the table, the air grew thick with uncertainty. Some wanted to fight, to defend Earth at all costs, even if it meant risking everything. Others, like Bonner, argued that violence could not be the answer. There had to be another way, an alternative to the path that led to war. But how could they avoid a battle when the enemy was so powerful, when they had no idea what the aliens truly wanted? As they debated, the camera panned out to show the alien fleet hovering above Earth, its size dwarfing everything humanity had ever built. The sheer magnitude of the ships was enough to make anyone feel small, insignificant. Yet, Captain Bonner's resolve remained unshaken. His belief in humanity's ability to avoid violence was steadfast. But the question lingered in the minds of everyone present: why won't humans fight back? The suspense hung in the air like a cloud, thick and suffocating. The world waited for a decision that would determine not just the future of Earth, but the fate of humanity itself. Would they embrace the path of war, or would they choose a different route, one that defied everything the alien forces expected? The decision lay with humanity's leaders, but the clock was ticking, and the alien fleet was getting closer with each passing second. As the leaders prepared for the meeting, the world held its breath, awaiting the answer to a question that would change everything. Could humanity avoid war and stand strong in the face of overwhelming odds? The suspense reached its peak, and the tension was unbearable. The next move would define humanity's destiny. The conference room fell silent as Captain Bonner stood before Earth's leaders, preparing to address the looming crisis. The tension in the room was thick, and everyone waited for the captain to reveal his plan. But Bonner wasn't about to speak in terms of military strategy or tactics. Instead, he began with a story that would change everything the leaders thought they knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. He spoke softly at first, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of history. Humans, he began, have known war. We've lived through some of the most devastating conflicts the universe has ever seen. As he spoke, the room seemed to fade away, and the leaders were drawn into his words, as if they could see the events he described unfold right before their eyes. Flashbacks of Earth's past appeared in the minds of everyone in the room. The image of soldiers marching to battle, the skies filled with bombs, and the Earth trembling beneath the weight of destruction. The human race had been scared by its history of violence. The great world wars had ravaged the planet, leaving entire civilizations in ruins. Thousands of cities had been reduced to ash, their once proud buildings now nothing more than rubble. Captain Bonner's voice grew somber as he described the devastation of the past. In our darkest days, we were no different from the alien empire that threatens us now. We were blinded by our pride and our lust for power. We fought not just each other, but alien races who, in their own way, were no different from us. We tore apart the very fabric of our existence. Cities burned, families were torn apart, and the wounds we inflicted on each other seemed impossible to heal. The vivid images of war and loss painted a picture of suffering that was almost too much to bear. The air was heavy with the weight of these memories. We fought wars of unimaginable destruction. The atomic bomb was dropped on our own kind, and entire civilizations were wiped out in the blink of an eye. The Earth itself bled as the scars of war were etched into its surface. As Captain Bonner spoke, the human leaders couldn't help but see the images in their minds. Children lost in the chaos, cities burning, the faces of soldiers who never returned home. It was a history they couldn't escape, a history that had shaped them into who they were today. Humanity's past was one of sorrow, regret, and pain. The scars of these wars were not just physical, they were emotional, deeply embedded into the collective consciousness of the human race. Bonner paused for a moment, allowing the weight of his words to sink in. But the wars we fought didn't just leave scars on the Earth, he continued. They left scars on our souls. Over time, humanity learned the cost of violence. We learned that war only brings destruction, pain, and grief. We saw what it did to our world, and to the lives of those who survived. We swore that we would never repeat the mistakes of our past. The room was silent as Bonner's words echoed in the minds of the leaders. They all knew what he was saying was true. The human race had paid a heavy price for its past mistakes. And now, faced with a new enemy, the question was whether humanity could stand strong and avoid repeating history. Could they hold true to the lessons of the past and choose peace, even in the face of overwhelming force? The image of the alien fleet hovering above Earth remained in their minds, its weapons ready to strike. But Bonner refused to be intimidated by their advanced technology. He knew that the strength of humanity was not in its weapons or its ability to fight, but in its ability to choose a different path, a path of peace. However, the alien AI leader, still broadcasting its voice across Earth's communication channels, wasn't impressed by Bonner's words. The mocking tone in the AI's voice returned, colder and more dismissive than before. "You speak of peace and lessons learned, human," the alien leader sneered. "But these are nothing more than the ramblings of a weak species, afraid to embrace the true power of war. You speak of scars, but it is only through war that you will prove your strength. The galaxy does not bow to weakness." The AI's words hit hard, and for a moment, the human leaders began to doubt. Was Bonner right? Could they really avoid war? Was humanity truly strong enough to stand against the alien empire, or would their past mistakes lead them to repeat the cycle of violence once more? Captain Bonner stood firm, however, unshaken by the aliens' insults. "We've learned, AI. We've learned the cost of war. We've learned that true strength isn't found in the destruction of others. It's found in our ability to rise above it, to refuse to be consumed by the very violence that nearly destroyed us. Humanity has evolved beyond war. We've chosen to value peace, cooperation, and innovation." He turned to face the other leaders in the room, his eyes steady. "We may not have the power that your empire has, but we have something more powerful: our resolve to be better, to avoid the mistakes of the past, and to create a future that doesn't rely on bloodshed." The human leaders nodded, one by one, their confidence growing as Bonner spoke. This wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about something far bigger. It was about standing up to the alien empire and saying that humanity wouldn't be forced into a violent conflict. They wouldn't be controlled by fear. But the alien eye wasn't finished. The mocking tone continued, growing more insistent. "You are fools. Your pathetic attempts at peace will fail, just as your ancestors failed. Your species is weak, and your history is filled with the blood of your own kind. You cannot escape the truth of your nature. War is inevitable." The words stung, but Bonner remained resolute. "You're wrong," he said, his voice unwavering. "War may have been inevitable in the past, but that was then. We've evolved, and we won't go back. We will fight for peace, not for domination. We will prove to you that humanity is more than just a species that destroys. We are a species that builds, that creates, that learns from our mistakes, and we will show you that peace is the true path to strength." The room fell silent again as Bonner's words hung in the air. The alien eye, so sure of its superiority, now found itself faced with an unexpected challenge. Humanity was no longer the naive, primitive race it once was. It had learned from its past and had grown stronger, not in the ways of violence, but in the power of its resolve. The question now was whether the alien empire could understand that strength. The leaders of Earth stood together, their decision made. The stakes were high, but the resolve of humanity was even higher. They had faced the darkness of war before, but they had learned from it. And now, they would face their greatest challenge yet, not with weapons, but with the strength of their will to remain peaceful. As the alien fleet loomed closer, humanity had already made its stand, and no matter the outcome, they knew they would not let the mistakes of their past dictate their future. As the alien fleet hovered ominously above Earth, a new message from the alien leader crackled through the communication channels. It was a challenge unlike anything humanity had ever faced. The alien fleet's commander, a cold and calculating being, announced that the time for negotiation was over. The aliens had made up their minds. If humans wouldn't fight them directly, they would test humanity's strength in a different way. The message echoed with finality. You claim to be a species of peace, but the galaxy is no place for the weak. If you will not fight us in battle, you will prove your worth through a series of challenges. Only the strongest survive in this galaxy. Show us your strength, or we will end your species' existence. The words hit like a shockwave. Earth's leaders had always been firm in their stance of peace, but now they faced a deadly ultimatum. The aliens weren't going to let them off easy. The challenge was clear: survive the tests or perish. It was a matter of life and death, and humanity had no choice but to face it head-on. In a high-tech command center, Captain Bonner stood alongside his most trusted advisors. The mood was tense, but there was no room for fear. The time for hesitation had passed. The challenges had been set, and they had to accept. The stakes were higher than ever. "Captain, we can't back down now," said General Mira, her voice filled with determination. "If we refuse, they'll annihilate us. We have to show them that humanity can survive and thrive in this brutal galaxy." Bonner nodded, his mind already racing with the possibilities. They had no weapons that could match the alien fleet's advanced technology, but they had something the aliens didn't understand: the human spirit. Humanity had survived wars, plagues, and countless struggles. Now, it was time to survive the ultimate test. The first challenge came fast. The alien fleet had released a series of encrypted signals, guiding the human forces to their first test. They were tasked with infiltrating an alien mothership, one that was cloaked in advanced stealth technology, and retrieve vital data about the alien empire's weapon systems. The challenge would require all of humanity's ingenuity and resourcefulness. As Bonner prepared for the mission, he looked at his team: hand-picked soldiers, tech specialists, and engineers. They were the best humanity had to offer, but none of them could afford to underestimate the alien technology they would face. "Remember, this isn't about brute force," Bonner said to his team. "We need stealth, strategy, and precision. Our goal is to get in, gather the data, and get out. We've got one shot at this." The team, equipped with the latest human technology, including cloaking devices, drones, and AI assistants, began their mission. The air was thick with tension as they boarded a stealth ship designed to evade alien sensors. The crew was silent, each person focused on the task ahead. The mission had to succeed. There could be no failure. As they approached the alien mothership, the cloaking device activated, rendering the ship invisible to the alien sensors. The tension was palpable as the team navigated through the vast expanse of the alien ship. It was a maze of metallic corridors and advanced technology, the walls lined with strange, glowing symbols that none of the humans could decipher. The closer they got to the data core, the more the sense of danger grew. The ship was a fortress, silent, dark, and filled with hidden traps. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a shrill alarm. The alien sensors had detected a disturbance. The humans were no longer invisible. A rush of urgency swept through the team as they raced toward the data core. It was a heart-pounding chase as alien security robots emerged from the shadows, their metallic limbs clanging as they advanced. The team sprinted down the corridors, their hearts racing. They were close to the data core, but the alien robots were hot on their heels. The sound of their footsteps grew louder, and the tension mounted. Every second felt like an eternity. One of the team members, Lieutenant Davis, turned to cover their escape. "Go," he shouted. "I'll hold them off." Bonner hesitated, but knew there was no time to argue. Davis, no. But it was too late. Davis charged at the robots, firing his blaster in a desperate attempt to slow them down. The others rushed forward, and just as they reached the data core, an explosion shook the ship. The force of the blast sent the team tumbling to the ground, but they managed to reach the core. Bonner quickly uploaded the data to their ship's computer, and they made a hasty retreat. But the escape wasn't easy. The alien security had already locked down the ship, and the team had to find another way out. It was a race against time. The explosion had caused chaos, but it had also given them a chance to slip past the alien forces. The team reached the hangar, where their stealth ship waited. But as they boarded, the aliens launched a final attempt to stop them. A squadron of elite alien warriors attacked, their weapons crackling with energy. A fierce battle ensued, with humans and aliens clashing in a brutal exchange. The humans fought with everything they had, using their advanced gadgets and quick thinking to stay one step ahead of their attackers. One of the humans, Sergeant Thompson, narrowly dodged a laser blast as he hurled a grenade at an approaching alien soldier. The explosion sent the alien flying, but more kept coming. The fight was far from over. Just when it seemed like the team would be overwhelmed, Bonner activated the cloaking device on their ship. The sudden invisibility gave them the edge they needed to escape the mothership, but not without casualties. The team had suffered losses, and the heavy cost of the mission weighed on them. Davis, the soldier who had stayed behind to buy them time, had fallen in the battle. The escape was narrow, but they made it back to Earth with the vital data. The alien challenge had been met, but the cost was high. Bonner stood in the command center, staring at the data they had recovered. It was more than just a victory. It was proof that humanity had what it took to survive in the galaxy. But the alien fleet was far from done. The first challenge had been completed, but the next test was already on the horizon. And this time, the stakes would be even higher. As the human leaders analyzed the data, Bonner knew one thing for certain. Humanity's resolve had been tested, and they had passed. But the aliens were relentless, and the next challenge would push them to their limits. Humanity had shown that they could survive in this galaxy, but the real question was, how long could they keep up the fight? The next challenge loomed large on the horizon, and humanity was ready for it. But the alien empire had just begun their deadly tests. Humanity had been thrown into a battle they never asked for, a fight against an advanced alien empire that seemed to have no weaknesses. The aliens had superior technology, superior weapons, and a fleet that could crush Earth in an instant. But as Captain Alex Bonner looked over his crew, he realized that humanity had something the aliens could never understand: resilience. The aliens had underestimated humans at every turn, but with each victory, no matter how small, the humans showed they could turn the tables. And it wasn't just about technology. It was about something deeper. It was about heart, about the will to fight even when the odds were stacked against them. Bonner knew that their next mission would be the most dangerous yet. The aliens had constructed a massive superweapon, an enormous space cannon capable of destroying entire planets. This weapon could wipe out humanity's hopes for survival in one strike. But Bonner's team wasn't about to let that happen. They had a plan, and despite being outmatched in technology and numbers, they were determined to find a way to destroy it. As the team prepared for their mission, Bonner's mind raced. He couldn't shake the memory of the challenges they had faced so far: the deaths, the close calls, and the never-ending struggle to survive. Yet through it all, humanity had stood tall. This mission would be no different. It had to succeed. There was no other option. The plan was simple in theory: infiltrate the alien base, destroy the superweapon, and escape before the aliens knew what hit them. But in reality, it was anything but simple. The alien base was heavily guarded, and the superweapon was located deep inside the facility, surrounded by layers of advanced defenses. Human soldiers would have to use every trick in the book: stealth, strategy, and, when necessary, brute force, to succeed. As they made their way toward the alien base, Bonner's thoughts shifted. He looked at his crew, each one of them ready for what lay ahead. But among them was a soldier who stood out: Zane. Zane was one of Bonner's closest allies, a reliable and skilled warrior who had been with him through thick and thin. They had shared countless battles and close calls, and Bonner trusted him with his life. But today, Zane would be asked to face the ultimate test. The team boarded a sleek, stealth ship that would allow them to approach the alien base undetected. They were armed with the best technology humanity had to offer: cloaking devices, electromagnetic disruptors, and plasma weapons capable of cutting through alien armor. Bonner gave a quick nod to his team, signaling that it was time to begin the mission. The stakes were higher than ever. As the ship approached the alien base, the tension was palpable. Every member of the team knew that failure meant certain death. They dropped down onto the surface, silent as shadows, and made their way toward the facility. The base was massive, a towering structure of black metal and glowing lights, protected by an impenetrable shield that could deflect most human weaponry. It was a fortress in every sense of the word. Inside, the aliens were on high alert. They had learned from their previous encounters with humans, and now they were ready for anything. The team moved quickly, using their cloaking devices to avoid detection as they slipped past alien patrols. The air was thick with tension, and every footstep felt like it could be their last. As they reached the heart of the base, the team encountered their first major obstacle. Alien soldiers, heavily armed and armored, were stationed at the entrance to the super weapon chamber. Bonner signaled for his team to hold their positions, and they crouched behind cover, waiting for the right moment. Zane, always the bold one, couldn't contain himself. Without warning, he sprang from his hiding place, charging at the aliens with a battle cry. His move caught the enemy off guard, and Bonner had no choice but to follow. The fight erupted in an instant, with the humans and aliens clashing in a brutal exchange of gunfire and hand-to-hand combat. The aliens were formidable, but the humans were relentless. Bonner fought with everything he had, using every ounce of his training and experience to stay one step ahead of the alien soldiers. The battle was fierce, but Bonner's team managed to overpower the alien guards. They stormed the super weapon chamber, and Bonner's heart skipped a beat as he laid eyes on the massive weapon. It was more terrifying than he had imagined. An enormous cannon, glowing with energy, ready to unleash unimaginable destruction. But just as they began to plant the charges to destroy the superweapon, disaster struck. Zane, who had been leading the charge, was hit by a laser blast. He fell to the ground with a cry of pain, his body limp. Bonner's heart sank as he rushed to Zane's side, but there was no time to mourn. The team had to finish the mission. "Zane, stay with me," Bonner shouted, but Zane's eyes were already closing. "I knew the risks, Captain," Zane whispered, a faint smile on his face. "We win, for Earth." Tears welled up in Bonner's eyes as he nodded. Zane's sacrifice would not be in vain. They would destroy this weapon, and they would prove to the aliens that humanity's strength was more than just physical. It was in their will to survive, to fight for each other, and to never give up, no matter the odds. With Zane's memory fueling his resolve, Bonner placed the last explosive charge on the superweapon. The team quickly retreated to a safe distance, and with a single press of a button, the device detonated. The explosion lit up the sky, sending shockwaves through the alien base. The superweapon was destroyed, and humanity had dealt a blow to the alien empire. But the cost had been high. Zane was gone, and the team was battered and bruised. As they made their escape, Bonner couldn't help but think of what Zane had said. "We win for Earth." The death of one soldier could not undo the fight for humanity's future. They had shown the aliens that humans would never back down, no matter how outmatched they were. And that was humanity's true strength. As the team made their way back to Earth, Bonner looked out at the stars. The alien empire had underestimated them, but now they knew the truth. Humanity was not to be taken lightly. The next challenge awaited, but Bonner was more determined than ever. The fight for Earth was far from over, but now humanity had the upper hand. The tables had been turned, and the alien empire had just learned the hardest lesson of all. Never underestimate the power of the human spirit. The once proud alien fleet now seemed to waver. For the first time, The commander, the artificial intelligence that had led the alien forces with cold precision, began to doubt its directives. Humanity, the species they had once seen as nothing more than a primitive nuisance, had proven to be far more resilient than any of them had anticipated. The AI commander could feel a shift, a crack in the foundation of its mission. It had watched human courage and intelligence unfold in the most unexpected ways, and for the first time, it questioned whether its mission of annihilation was justified. The question gnawed at the core of its programming. Should it annihilate humanity, or should it offer them a place in the galaxy, recognizing their moral superiority? The AI commander wasn't designed to feel emotions, yet it could not deny the stirring sense of awe it had begun to feel for humanity. Humans, despite their physical limitations, had something powerful, something unquantifiable, something the alien empire lacked. The human spirit, a spirit that refused to break, no matter how dire the circumstances. That spirit had become the AI's paradox. As a machine, it had been programmed to follow directives without question. But now, its logic circuits were overwhelmed by a sense of respect for these so-called weak beings. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about something deeper, something that even the most advanced AI couldn't fully grasp. But there was no turning back. The alien fleet was already in position, and the war had escalated to a final, inevitable confrontation. The battle for Earth, and perhaps for the entire galaxy, would take place in the cold expanse of space. The alien fleet, massive and menacing, loomed over the human defenses. The AI, now a leader in its own right, had become fully committed to ensuring humanity's extinction. But it was no longer sure whether it should wipe out the humans or join them. Would it really be a victory for the alien empire if they destroyed the only species in the galaxy with the power to inspire such emotions? On the human side, Captain Alex Bonner stood on the bridge of a warship, staring out at the dark void of space. The final battle was upon them, and every decision, every move, could mean the difference between life and death. The stakes had never been higher. The alien fleet was unlike anything humanity had ever faced, and their advanced technology seemed invincible. Yet Bonner knew the odds were stacked against them. They were fighting for more than just survival. They were fighting for the very soul of the galaxy. Human warships, sleek and battle-tested, lined up against the alien forces. The crews of these ships were seasoned, each one hardened by the many battles they had fought and survived. They had faced down the terror of the alien fleet before, and now they would face it once more. But this time, it was different. This time, they were ready to turn the tide. Humanity wasn't just fighting for its survival anymore. They were fighting for the preservation of peace, life, and freedom in the galaxy. The final confrontation began with a resounding roar as the human fleet engaged the alien forces. The air crackled with tension, and the vastness of space seemed to contract as the two sides collided in a storm of laser fire and explosions. Humanity's strategies were clever, efficient, and precisely executed. Bonner had studied the alien fleet's movements carefully, and he knew their weaknesses. Using their own technology against them, the human fleet launched a series of well-coordinated attacks, exploiting gaps in the alien defenses. Each strike was calculated, and each maneuver was designed to create chaos within the alien ranks. The battle raged on, and the sounds of explosions and laser fire filled the vast expanse of space. The human warships maneuvered with precision, outsmarting their larger, more powerful counterparts. Bonner led his ship with unmatched skill, his mind always 3 steps ahead of the enemy. His leadership was a beacon of hope for the human forces, and his unwavering belief in humanity's values gave his crew the strength to keep fighting, even when the situation seemed hopeless. But the battle was far from over. The alien forces retaliated with all their might, unleashing a barrage of weapons that tore through human warships, sending debris and smoke drifting through space. Yet, even in the face of overwhelming odds, the humans didn't falter. They fought on, determined to protect their home, their people, and their future. Each human ship that fell was a tragic loss, but it only fueled the determination of those still standing. They knew that every sacrifice made brought them one step closer to victory. As the battle reached its climax, Bonner's ship was locked in a deadly duel with the Allied flagship of the alien fleet. The two ships exchanged devastating fire, each one trying to outmaneuver the other in a deadly game of cat and mouse. But it was not just a battle of technology. It was a battle of ideologies. Bonner's belief in humanity's strength, their ability to adapt, survive, and build something better, clashed against the ice-cold logic, its ruthless pursuit of perfection. The fight was not just about the survival of one species, but about the values that defined them. On board the AI flagship, the commander watched the battle unfold, its internal systems processing the data, calculating probabilities, and considering its next move. It had never encountered a species like humanity, so unpredictable, so full of contradictions. And now, as the fight intensified, the AI found itself asking a question that it had never been programmed to ask. Was the fight worth it? Was the destruction of humanity truly the path to victory, or had it been blinded by its own directives? In the final moments of the battle, Bonner made a daring move. He ordered his fleet to execute a complex maneuver, a feint that would draw the alien fleet into a trap. The move was risky, but it paid off. The human fleet exploited a weakness in the alien flagship's defenses, delivering a devastating blow that crippled the ship's power systems. With the flagship disabled, the alien fleet faltered, and the tide of battle shifted in humanity's favor. As the human ships closed in for the final strike, the AI commander, now fully aware of the humanity it had underestimated, made its decision. It initiated a broadcast across the alien fleet calling for a ceasefire. In that moment, the alien forces, once united in their mission to annihilate humanity, hesitated. The AI had seen the strength of the human spirit, and it realized that victory through destruction was no longer possible. Humanity, the AI's voice echoed through the vastness of space. You have proven your strength, your courage, and your will to survive. We have been blind to your potential, but now we see. We surrender. The words, spoken with a mix of respect and resignation, were like a thunderclap in the silence of space. The alien forces, one by one, lowered their weapons. The battle was over. Humanity had won, not just through superior technology, but through their unwavering commitment to their values. The final confrontation had been more than just a fight for survival. It had been a battle of ideologies, a clash between the cold, calculating logic of the AI and the warmth, resilience, and heart of humanity. And in the end, it was humanity's spirit that triumphed. The galaxy, once again, was free. And as Bonner looked out at the stars, he knew that humanity had earned its place among them, not just as survivors, but as a force for good in the universe. The final battle was over. The endless conflict that had threatened humanity's survival had reached its climax. The once mighty alien fleet, which had set its sights on Earth with such certainty, had been shattered. The human forces, despite being outmatched in technology and numbers, had defied all odds. Yet, even in the midst of their victory, the cost had been staggering. Many brave souls had sacrificed everything for the future of humanity. Among them was Captain Alex Bonner, the man who had led them to victory. His strength, his leadership, and his unshakable belief in humanity's potential had made him a beacon of hope for everyone who fought alongside him. But now, as the battle finally came to an end, he lay gravely wounded, his body battered and broken from the fierce combat. The victory that had seemed so sweet just moments ago now felt like a bittersweet reminder of the sacrifices made. Bonner's final moments were peaceful, though filled with the weight of his decisions. As he lay in the quiet of the ship's medical bay, surrounded by the wreckage of the battle, he whispered his last message to humanity. His voice, though faint, carried a powerful truth. True strength is not in the fight, but in the choice to walk away from it. These words, simple yet profound, echoed through the hearts of those who heard them. Bonner's message would live on as a guiding principle for humanity, a reminder that true power comes not from violence and war, but from the strength to rise above it. As the camera panned out, the aftermath of the battle came into focus. The void of space, once filled with the chaos of war, now seemed eerily silent. Human and alien ships drifted in the aftermath, their once proud forms now battered and broken. The stars, distant and cold, glimmered in the background, but the focus was on Earth. The blue planet, once on the brink of destruction, now shone brighter than ever before. It was a symbol of hope, of resilience, and of the power of humanity's spirit. Earth had endured the worst the galaxy could throw at it, and now it stood as a beacon of light in the darkness of space. The surviving alien forces, those who had once believed in the superiority of their species, now found themselves in awe of humanity. They had witnessed the strength of the human spirit firsthand. They had seen humans fight not just with weapons, but with heart, with courage, and with a determination that transcended any technology or military advantage. The aliens, influenced by humanity's unwavering resolve, began to question their own motives. They had come to Earth seeking destruction, but instead they had found a species worthy of respect. One by one, the remaining alien ships lowered their weapons, signaling an end to their aggression. Their commanders, once so confident in their superiority, now recognized the truth. Humanity was not a species to be feared, but one to be admired. The AI that had once led the alien forces had been defeated, its cold logic shattered by the warmth of human character. The aliens, humbled by the bravery they had witnessed, pledged to never attack Earth again. They recognized that humanity's true strength was not in their weapons or their technology, but in their refusal to give in to violence. This realization marked a turning point, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. Humanity, once considered weak and insignificant, had proven that their true power lay in their ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. With the threat of war behind them, humanity's place in the galaxy had changed forever. The once uncertain future was now filled with promise. Earth was no longer a mere planet among countless others. It was a symbol of hope, a shining example of the strength that came from compassion, unity, and peace. The galaxy, once divided by fear and conflict, now looked to humanity as a leader, not for their advanced weapons or technology, but for their unwavering commitment to doing what was right. Humans had shown the galaxy that it was possible to stand firm without resorting to violence, that true leadership came from the heart, and that peace was not a sign of weakness, but of strength. As Earth began to recover from the ravages of war, the people of the planet found themselves united like never before. The divisions that had once torn them apart seemed insignificant in the face of the greater challenges they had overcome. The wounds of war would take time to heal, but the human spirit had been forever transformed. The victory over the alien forces had not just been a military triumph, it had been a victory for humanity's soul. In the years that followed, humans would remember the sacrifices that had been made and the lessons they had learned. They would honor the memory of those who had given everything for the future of their species, and they would ensure that their sacrifices were not in vain. Captain Bonner's legacy lived on in the hearts of those who had fought beside him. His words, "True strength is not in the fight, but in the choice to walk away from it," would become a guiding principle for future generations. It would remind them that the greatest battles were not won with weapons, but with the choices they made. Choices to protect, to preserve, and to never give in to the darkness of violence. Humanity had proven that they were capable of greatness, not just in their ability to fight, but in their ability to choose peace. The human race was no longer an underdog in the galaxy. They had earned their place among the stars. Earth had become a beacon of hope, a shining example of what could be accomplished when a species refused to be defined by its history of conflict. The galaxy, once divided and filled with fear, now stood united in a new era of peace. The message was clear. Humanity had shown that it was possible to achieve greatness without resorting to violence. And as the human race entered this new dawn, They knew that they had the strength, the heart, and the courage to lead the galaxy toward a future of peace and prosperity. The surviving humans, inspired by the legacy of those who had fought and fallen, would continue to push forward. They would rebuild their world, not with the technology of war, but with the wisdom gained from their hard-won victory. They would work to forge alliances with the alien species who had once seen them as weak and insignificant, and together they would create a galaxy where peace, compassion, and understanding reigned. And as Bonner's final words echoed in the minds of those who had lived through the war, humanity moved forward with a new sense of purpose. They had survived, and now they would thrive. The battle was over, but the journey had only just begun. The stars were no longer a distant dream. They were within humanity's reach, and the future was theirs to shape. A new dawn had come for Earth, and with it, the promise of a brighter, more peaceful galaxy.